You finished everything you had on your list today. The emails, the meetings, the workout, the side project. You did everything right. And yet, lying in bed tonight, there is this quiet, uncomfortable feeling that something is missing. Not sadness, not failure, just emptiness. Like you ran a race and crossed the finish line, but no one was there, and the medal didn't mean anything. If you've ever felt this, you are not broken. You are not ungrateful. You are experiencing one of the most common and least talked about problems of modern life: productive emptiness. The feeling of doing everything and still feeling nothing. Today, we are going to look at exactly why this happens, what your brain is actually doing when you feel this way, and what kind of shift changes everything. Not a new productivity system, not a better morning routine, something much deeper than that. We were taught a simple equation from a very young age. Work hard, get results, feel good. It seems logical. It seems fair. If you put in the effort, the satisfaction should follow automatically, like a vending machine. You press the button, the reward drops. But the human brain doesn't work like a vending machine. It works like a story. And stories don't feel meaningful just because the plot moved forward. They feel meaningful when the character understands why any of it mattered. Here is what modern productivity culture got wrong. It optimized for output and forgot about meaning. It gave us better systems for doing more and never once asked whether doing more was the point. We learned how to manage our time, our energy, our focus, our habits. We built elaborate systems to squeeze more out of every hour, and many people became genuinely, objectively productive. They do more in a day than most people do in a week, and they feel empty. This is not a motivation problem. It is not laziness hiding under a philosophical complaint. Neuroscience has a very specific explanation for why this happens, and once you understand it, you cannot unsee it. Inside your brain, there are two systems that are often confused for the same thing. The first is the dopamine system. This is the system that responds to achievement, to checking things off, to finishing tasks, to getting things done. Every time you complete something, your brain releases a small shot of dopamine. It feels like satisfaction, but it is actually closer to relief. The signal is not, "This was meaningful." The signal is, "The task is over." The second system is much older and much quieter. Researchers sometimes call it the meaning circuitry. It involves areas of the brain associated with narrative, identity, and connection. This system doesn't respond to tasks being finished. It responds to a completely different question. Does what I'm doing matter to who I am and who I want to become? Most people spend their entire lives feeding the dopamine system while starving the meaning circuitry. They get very good at finishing tasks and completely out of touch with why any of those tasks should matter. The result is a brain that is technically satisfied and emotionally hollow at the same time. This is the paradox at the center of productive emptiness. You feel rewarded and unrewarded simultaneously. The surface layer of your brain says, "Good job, task complete." The deeper layer says, "But for what?" Think about a hamster wheel. The hamster is moving constantly. It is exerting real effort. Its legs are doing exactly what legs are designed to do. By every physical measure, it is running, but it is going nowhere. Not because the hamster is failing, because the wheel has no direction. Productive emptiness feels like running a hamster wheel that looks exactly like a real road. From the outside and even from the inside, it looks like progress. But something in you, something older and wiser than your task management app, knows the difference between movement and direction. Direction requires something that productivity systems almost never include: an honest answer to the question of why. Not the surface answer, not because I want to be successful or because I want financial security. Those are directions towards more dopamine. The deeper answer, the one that makes you feel slightly vulnerable to say out loud, the one that connects your daily actions to something that actually matters to you as a person, not as a performer. Most people have never been asked to answer that question seriously. School didn't ask it. Work doesn't ask it. Social media certainly didn't. So they keep building better systems for moving faster on a wheel with no destination. Here is the part that makes people uncomfortable. For many people, productivity is not just a lifestyle, it is armor. Staying busy is a way to avoid the one thing that feels most threatening: silence. Because in silence, the deeper questions get loud. Am I actually living the life I want? Do the things I'm spending my time on reflect what I actually value? If I stopped being productive for a week, who would I be? These questions are not dangerous, but they feel dangerous because most of us don't have good answers prepared, and not having good answers feels like failure. So we stay busy. We fill the silence with tasks. We replace reflection with optimization. We confuse productivity for identity. This is a mechanism your nervous system develops very early. Psychologists have observed for decades that activity, even meaningless activity, reduces anxiety in the short term. When you're doing something, your brain interprets that as being in control. The moment you stop, the uncertainty of existence becomes harder to ignore. Busyness, then, becomes not just a habit, it becomes a coping strategy for the existential discomfort of not knowing what any of this is for. The problem is that coping strategies only work temporarily. You can only outrun the question so long before it catches up with you. Usually, late at night. Usually in the middle of a week when, objectively, things are going well. Usually as a quiet, persistent feeling that the life you are carefully constructing is somehow not yours. To escape productive emptiness, you need to do something that feels counterproductive at first. You need to slow down and build what we can call the 3 layers of why. This is not a productivity hack. This is a reckoning, but it is the reckoning that changes everything. The first layer is the surface why. This is the answer you give when someone asks why you work so hard. I want to provide for my family. I want to build something I'm proud of. I want financial independence. These are real answers. They are not wrong, but they are incomplete. They explain the direction, not the destination. The second layer is the values why. This is the answer to the question, what does that goal actually give you that you don't already have? If you want financial independence, what feeling are you chasing? Security? Freedom? Respect? The ability to choose how you spend your time? Most people have never identified this layer, but this is where the emotional charge lives. This is what your brain is actually trying to get to when it chases the surface goals. When you name this layer honestly, you often discover that some of the things you're working hardest towards are not actually connected to the feeling you want. You're taking a long detour through achievement to reach something that was available to you all along. The third layer is the identity why. This is the deepest and most powerful layer. It answers the question, who do I want to be?
And do my daily actions reflect that person? Not who do I want to be seen as, not what achievements do I want to have. Who do I actually want to be in my character, in my relationships, in my relationship to myself? This layer is uncomfortable because it exposes the gap between the life we are performing and the life we actually want to live. But it is also the layer where real motivation lives, the kind that doesn't need to be manufactured or hacked or optimized. When your daily actions are expressions of who you genuinely want to become, the feeling of emptiness doesn't fill the space after the task is done, because the task itself was already full of meaning before you finished it.
There's a simple practice that researchers in the field of positive psychology have studied extensively, and it consistently shows results in reducing feelings of emptiness among high-achieving individuals. It is called a meaning audit, and it is nothing like the productivity audits you may have done before. A productivity audit asks, am I using my time efficiently? A meaning audit asks a completely different question. Does how I'm spending my time actually reflect what I say I value? Here is how it works. At the end of a week, not a day, but a full week, you look back at how your time was actually spent, not how you planned to spend it, how you actually spent it. Then you make a simple list of your top 5 stated values. These might be family, creativity, health, contribution, learning, whatever genuinely matters to you when you're being honest with yourself. Then you ask the honest question, does what I actually did this week reflect these values? Not perfectly, not completely, but directionally. Was there visible evidence in how I spent my actual hours that these things matter to me? Most people find a significant gap the first time they do this, not because they're living wrong, but because they have never had a mirror this specific held up. They say they value connection, and they spent 40 hours on work that required no human depth. They say they value creativity, and they spent their creative energy optimizing systems instead of making anything. They say they value presence with people they love, and they were physically there, but mentally somewhere else entirely. The meaning audit is not an exercise in guilt. It is an exercise in honesty. And honesty, uncomfortable as it is the first step out of the emptiness, because you cannot close a gap you cannot see. The shift that definitely matters now is not the dramatic one. It doesn't require quitting your job, or moving to a cabin in the mountains, or dismantling everything you've built. It is a quieter shift, and in many ways, a braver one. It is the shift from performing a life to inhabiting one. Performing a life means doing things because they look right, feel correct to display, or match the story you want others to believe about you. There is nothing wrong with caring about how your life looks, but when the performance becomes the primary motivation, the inner life hollows out. You become a very convincing actor in someone else's idea of what your life should be. Inhabiting a life means doing things because they are genuinely connected to who you are and who you are becoming. It means tolerating the discomfort of doing things that matter deeply, but are invisible to others. It means measuring progress not just in output, but in alignment. The question becomes not, did I do a lot today? But did I do something that was actually mine today? This shift changes the experience of productivity completely. When what you're doing is connected to what genuinely matters to you, the completing of a task doesn't leave a vacuum behind it. There is no emptiness waiting on the other side of the finished task, because the meaning wasn't stored in the completion, it was present in the doing. You don't need to redesign your entire life to begin this shift. You need one small, honest practice. Before you build your task list tomorrow morning, add one line that has nothing to do with output. Write down one thing you want to feel or become by the end of the day. Not achieve, not complete. Feel or become. It might be, I want to feel genuinely present in one conversation today. Or, I want to do one thing that reflects my actual curiosity, not just my obligations. Or, I want to end this day knowing that one action I took was fully mine, not performed for anyone else. This single line does something your task list cannot do on its own. It connects the day's activity to the person living it. It reminds your meaning circuitry that it is invited to participate, not just your dopamine system. Over time, this small practice, the shift that definitely matters now, is not the dramatic one. It doesn't require quitting your job, or moving to a cabin in the mountains, or dismantling everything you've built. It is a quieter shift, and in many ways, a braver one. It is the shift from performing a life to inhabiting one. Performing a life means doing things because they look right, feel correct to display, or match the story you want others to believe about you. There is nothing wrong with caring about how your life looks, but when the performance becomes the primary motivation, the inner life hollows out. You become a very convincing actor in someone else's idea of what your life should be. Inhabiting a life means doing things because they are genuinely connected to who you are and who you are becoming. It means tolerating the discomfort of doing things that matter deeply, but are invisible to others. It means measuring progress not just in output, but in alignment. The question becomes not, did I do a lot today? But did I do something that was actually mine today? This shift changes the experience of productivity completely. When what you're doing is connected to what genuinely matters to you, the completing of a task doesn't leave a vacuum behind it. There is no emptiness waiting on the other side of the finished task, because the meaning wasn't stored in the completion, it was present in the doing. You don't need to redesign your entire life to begin this shift. You need one small, honest practice. Before you build your task list tomorrow morning, add one line that has nothing to do with output. Write down one thing you want to feel or become by the end of the day. Not achieve, not complete. Feel or become. It might be, I want to feel genuinely present in one conversation today. Or, I want to do one thing that reflects my actual curiosity, not just my obligations. Or, I want to end this day knowing that one action I took was fully mine, not performed for anyone else. This single line does something your task list cannot do on its own. It connects the day's activity to the person living it. It reminds your meaning circuitry that it is invited to participate, not just your dopamine system. Over time, this small practice recalibrates what you notice. You begin to detect which tasks feel genuinely aligned and which feel like movement without direction. You begin to make subtler choices, less optimization towards appearance and more investment in depth. Less doing, more being present inside what you are already doing. The emptiness that follows productivity is not a sign that you are doing too little. It is a signal that your deeper self is asking to be included. And the remarkable thing is, once you start listening, it doesn't take much to feel full. You already have everything you need. You just need to make sure that some of what you're doing is actually for you. The goal was never to do more. The goal was to feel like your life belonged to you. Start there. Everything else becomes simpler.